Hi, positive readers. It's Positive Writer today with another video. And today I am here with an author interview. And today I'm going to be interviewing the amazing RUHI Parikh, who is the author of Subversion. It's an amazing book right here. And I will let her introduce herself.
As you said, my name is RUHI Parikh, and I did write the book Subversion. It came out January 4th, and the sequel is coming September 20th, like literally months away.
Oh
so I'm super excited. Yeah.
Yes, I'm like so excited. Like, if you didn't know, this is a dystopian novel, and I love me some YA dystopian. So, I mean, I'm super excited today. I mean, I really want to just get right in and start off with like what the book is about and everything. I thought nobody could be better to explain it than the person who wrote it. And so the summary, and then I'm just gonna be asking her some questions, and you know, you're gonna get some like great insight, I'm sure, into like her process and the creation of this amazing book. Maybe like something about the sequel, I don't know, but I'm excited to be here and I'm very thankful. So go ahead and like tell us about your book.
So Subversion is about a 19-year-old girl named Blair Cohen. She lives in divided Washington, D.C. It's divided into the rich and the poor. And she's basically fed up with the whole system, and it's just like kind of manifesting inside of her. She just wants to like have a better life for her and her family. And one day she just gets kidnapped by this organization that wants to destroy the government after years of working on a plan or something. And basically the entire story is her about like being a part of the organization, kind of balancing her like social life and worrying about her family, and then like just hoping that everything works out in the end and she gets the life that she's always wanted.
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful like summary of it. It's amazing. Like it like doesn't even have to service just because the books are so cool and amazing. And again, you have to experience that for yourself. And so like I highly suggest anyone who has not read the book yet to get it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It is like available in the description of the video. All that stuff is going to be there. You're going to get to follow RUHI on all of her like social medias. Her TikTok is super funny. I highly recommend. And so all that stuff is going to be in the description. Just so you can like join this amazing like family of people who love this book. And so, I mean, without further ado, I mean, I just want to like get into these questions because I'm super excited to just find out more about like this book. And I guess I'll start off kind of simple, I guess. Start off with this book because I keep staring at it. And I mean, you ask anyone, this is a beautiful cover. I mean, like again, somebody who's read YA Dystopian for years. I mean, I've seen so many covers, but it's like, this is amazing. Like, and so I wanted to ask again about your input, because to me, this cover like is the book. Like the greens and the browns, like the vibe of the book is all like in this cover, and that is rare to see. And so I just wanted to know like if you had like an input on that process.
Well, when I was laying out the cover that I wanted to my cover designer, I'm like really like specific when it comes to visual, especially when it's like something that I wrote basically. And I really wanted to like make the cover on a scene that happens in a book, like basically like the climax of the scene. So when they see the cover, they may be confused at first because obviously they haven't read the book yet. They're just like, this looks interesting. So that just like kind of makes them more intrigued to read the story. And when they hit that scene, they look back at the cover and they're like, wow, like I'm reading this right now. And I've been like always, or what's the word for it? Like always like, I guess, ready for that like person to go for that exact moment. And same thing for the sequel. Like the sequel cover is also of like a picture, I guess, of like the climax and the sequel. And like it's like that for all three books. So I think that just like kind of shows how everything seems everything seems like it's going great at first, but then like the cover, like you don't see it or know it at first, but like the cover just shows like what's to come in the story, I guess. So but I definitely like the cover too. Like I think when it comes to like putting people on the cover, it's like a hit or a miss. So I feel like this cover really, like, thanks to my cover designer, of course, like I just think it really like hits the bullseye. So yeah.
Agreed. I mean, I really love people on the cover just because you can do so much stuff with it, like you said. hit or miss, you know, but this is definitely a hit, like all the way. And so obviously, again, I'm not sure if this is gonna be like wholly spoiler free. Again, we'll like figure that out. But my questions are more like into the book now because I'm super excited to just find out more about this. And I guess I would like ask right off the back, like if there was a character that you really relate to, or someone that you are just feel like you are the opposite of, like that's both of those things are very interesting to me. So you can answer both questions if you want. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying, what character do you feel like really, really attached to or completely like not attached to at all?
So I feel like when it in regards to a character that I'm attached to, I feel like I'm attached to all my characters in some sort of way because all the problems that my main characters deal with, like Blair, for example, she just isn't really happy with society and wants to bring change to it. That's like one part of my personality. And then Jax, he just feels like an outsider in his own family or like his society or stuff like that, also a part of my personality. So I feel like in some way I can like relate to all of my characters. And but like the character I probably relate with the most is probably Mallory. And I don't want to go into too much details because it does spoil kind of the second book. But like she's just like the kind of character who I don't know how to explain it, but she's like the kind of character when you first look at her, you feel sorry for her in a way because she just comes obviously from a background that she can't really control. And she's also part of the group. And she's obviously putting her different needs and values in balance. And this may sound like really confusing because she's like a huge part of the second book. And I do not want to say too much because it spoils a lot. But yeah, I really feel like she's like a character I relate with the most. And characters I'm not really attached with, I feel like there's like not really a character I don't have like an emotional connection to because obviously I made these people, you know, like obviously I would have some sort of connection with them. But I mean, they all like have a special place in my heart. And especially in the sequel, like more characters come and like they all also have a special place in my heart. So I'd say like there's not really anyone that I would not have a connection with because I'm a pretty emotional person and I like take, you know, characters and everything to heart. Pretty much it.
I agree. And I think you did a great job of having that come across in your work because everyone matters. And I mean, I'm also an emotional person. So I just got really attached to everybody immediately because that's what happened. And like you could tell, like you know, there's so many amazing people. And I was actually thinking about Matthew a couple of days ago. She's one of my favorite characters. And so it's so cool that, you know, I'm saying you liked her a lot and that she's important in the sequel. Super excited to see that. I think my next question would be then, since we're like getting into like characters and things like this, I guess maybe a character that you didn't really expect to maybe like writing so much. Like, because I know that again, there's like Blair is like the main character, you know, and we get to like be inside her head. But like you see everyone else's, you know, from her point of view. And so like was there a character that kind of surprised you that maybe like snuck up on the page sometimes, like you didn't expect them to be in the scene and they just kind of kept on coming up?
Well, now you ask, I feel like a character I really never expected to just like show up all the time, I guess. I'd say probably V or Vienna. Like she was supposed to be like a background character in Subversion, like just kind of there making her comments and stuff like that. But the more I like really dived into her character, the more I started to realize that she does have a lot of depth and like three-dimensional personalities to her. And I thought like maybe she should have like a huge role in the story. So that's how like first it was me more of Jeremiah taking the control, but like Jeremiah, no offense to him, like he's an amazing guy, but V like she just has like a different like aura to her. And I feel like I really wanted to explore and experiment for how she'd react to certain situations. And also like she's more like bold in comparison to other characters and she really like drives the story forth. And I never once thought she'd be like one of those characters to really be such a huge part of my story because she wasn't supposed to be. So in the end, like I'm glad I really put her at a priority because she's really making a good story for me. So
That's great to hear. I mean, I love these characters. You know, just reading the book is so natural. It's like you don't think maybe she wasn't always there, but like I'm so thankful that she is because she's one of the most memorable parts of the book. I remember laughing at like literally anything she's in is like hilariously like, oh my gosh, I'm scared of this girl. But we love her, and I'm so thankful to hear that. She's great. And again, since you're talking about again like all this like writing stuff, I think it'll be interesting to ask a question about writing. And so I wanted to ask again because we know this book came out in January this year, and now the second book is going to be coming out in the same year in like September, which is like you're spoiling us. Like, thank you. We have to wait like no time at all. So grateful. I mean, I read it only a couple months ago, and so it's still like too much time, but still like just the fact that we don't have to wait like a year or multiple years is a blessing. But again, that is like not like unheard of almost. And so I wanted to ask, like, are there tips that you would give to literally any writer who is looking to write their books faster, especially series books? Because I think that is an art in and of itself. And so like how do you do that?
Well, when it comes, honestly, people get so mad whenever I say this, but when it comes to writing, I don't even realize I have like a certain like way that I write and allows me to write at a fast pace, I guess. But I get immersed so easily in whatever I'm doing. Like obviously I have my days where I physically and personally cannot write at all, and like I get frustrated, and like I wouldn't exactly label it as writer's block because I have my own opinions about writer's block. But when it comes to just writing in general, I just literally bully myself into writing whenever I'm not able to. I'm just like, look, like I make deadlines for myself like it's like a job or something when it's really not for me, but like I do that to keep myself on track. And at the beginning of writing Conversion or the sequel, I did struggle to write the story at first because I took like a 4 to 5 month hiatus from after Subversion got published. And then I forced myself to get back in the writing scene. I was like, okay, I got to write the sequel now. So at the beginning of writing the sequel, I really was not into it. And after like a couple months of not really being able to write in January again, that's like when I really picked up the pace. And I think then I just have like these random bursts of motivation, I guess. And it just, what I'm trying to say is that it entirely depends on you as a person and just like certain things to help you kind of get in the writing mood. Like like the number one thing that's probably helped me write, and like probably the number one reason why I was able to publish 2 books in a year is probably because of music. Like I've genuinely become such a huge fan of dystopian music because like it really, really, really helps me write. And it like really, really helps me like dive into the all the scenes and understand where I want my story to go. Like when I was like brainstorming Conversion, I listened to music, like just nothing but dystopian music. Like that's literally all my playlist consisted of. And like I like it helped, and it helped me like really understand my books more. So like just like stuff like that. Also just like anything that helps you get into the scene and writing in general. And when it comes to like writing fast, I say I don't think there's like specific like times you're supposed to finish writing. I think it's just like a you kind of thing. Like some people takes them years to write a book, which is perfectly okay. I mean, as long as you end up writing it, as long as you finish it in the end, that's all that matters. It's just I'm just a really abnormal person, and I like write either like 2 words in 2 days or like 2,000 words in 1 hour. Like it's just I have like these weird mood swings, and it just depends on you as a person. That's really all I'm trying to say. Shit.
Thank you. That was like a beautiful answer. Like I didn't know what you were gonna say, but that's really beautiful just because it just reminds me, like no one's like exempt from this. Like this isn't like evade somebody and they just can't do it. Like it does depend on you. And you should be okay with your own pace. So I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. Like that's amazing. And I think that again, I love music also. And so I think that I went on and I like looked up the playlist for this amazing book, and so many of those songs, like they just feel like the story. And so I can definitely see how that would help so much. And I guess more specifically, I wanted to ask about Blair and Jax because they're a big part of this book. And individually, as like individuals, I wanted to know if they had like any one song that could be like a theme song for them, and then maybe a theme song for their relationship at maybe some point in the book or this period or their dynamic or whatever. If you had thought about that, and what would that be?
Well, I haven't exactly thought about like a song that like defines their relationships, but I've listened to the song a couple of times that just like reminds me of Blair. if anything. It's Elastic Heart by Sia. And it's just about how like basically the song is basically about like them having thick skin and elastic heart, and how whatever happens they will always like never back down. And I think that also applies to Jax to a certain extent now I think about it, because like I mean obviously you read the book, and like people who have read the book understand that like this does have heavily apply to Jax after like being pushed down and thrown around for his entire life. And I feel like all the characters, if anything, like just being strong and remaining like brave and willing to go past any obstacles, like it applies to them.
I love that. That's actually so amazing that you're right. Like when I think about it, all the characters, they are like continuing to push through no matter what. And so that would be a great, like, just theme song for the book, just because all the characters truly are really great at that. So thank you again for like writing a book that has such hopeful tones, even though it is like dark and, sad and tragic and very violent. That is, hard to do. And so I'm very thankful that again, we all get to like hold this book in our hands and it like has both of these things at once. I think it's very much of a blessing. And again, just because the dystopian genre is so broad, I wanted to ask specifically about that because, again, so many dystopian books are really just straight up just dark, really sad, like horrific almost novels. And this book has its horrific moments, because of the subject matter and, the society and everything that's going on, the events of the story. But I wanted to, again, ask you, like, how do you kind of stay in a hopeful headspace, what I'm saying, that keeps you going, through these like hard like times. And I remember like some videos that you posted about like the second book even, like it's only getting worse. And so it's like, how do you stay like, oh, like how do you still smile, and all that like through the process?
So honestly, yeah, writing the second book, especially the end of it, like I'm pretty sure you could remember I was not doing well mentally those days, because like some people don't understand, and it's okay like if people don't, because obviously people don't, a lot of people don't write books, but for like many authors that do understand, like writing books that like genuinely have like a heavy message and a really depressing dark tone around them, it does take like a mental toll on you sometimes. But I feel like in those days that I was writing like those sad chapters that like had a lot going on, it like just requires you to also be strong at the same time. And like I remember I was like playing, I think like intense battle music like during like writing those chapters, and like the music really was not helping because it was making me feel like I was a part of what's going on. So I feel like I had to like take a bunch of breaks in between, just kind of catch myself, compose myself. Cause like as you, especially if you're writing a series, like you grow closer to the characters and like just like the world in general that you made up, and it gets a little difficult sometimes like carrying on with the story, knowing that you have to let some people go, like you like the world just keeps on getting darker and darker and there's like very little hope remaining. But in the end, like I always try to put some positivity in like even the darkest of chapters, like even like some, because like some readers can't take it either, like so I have to like keep that, I have to like keep that in mind as well. So that's why I try to have like hopeful characters at the same time. Like obviously they have their moments where like they cannot be hopeful, like it's really that bad. But like I always try to present some light in the book. So not only does it appear to the characters and the readers, but also appears to me, and also keeps me going at the same time. Cause like it genuinely did. Oh my God, it was so bad. I remember I cannot, that one night when I wrote that one chapter, it was really bad, but like you just have to keep on pushing and you have to keep on going, and you just have to keep on reminding yourself that there are all going to be happy moments in the books. But like because of this, it's a dystopian novel and I chose to write dystopian, I have to carry on with those parts. But I'd say it's pretty.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I mean, like I love the genre so much. So it's like the privilege to be able to ask actually about like someone who's written it. Like, well, how did that feel? It's a blessing to me. So thank you for answering that so like eloquently. It was a great answer. Yeah, it's a crazy genre. So many characters, you get so scared for like everybody. But I mean, one of the best things about the genre is that it's so fast paced. Like I love being there with the characters and like stuff is happening every 5 seconds. Like, and again, that can be like really humorous for me. So that's something that I think he did so well. It's the humor because even in like some of the worst like scenes in the book, or like some of the worst, most like violent scenes. You know, just the fact that the characters are like, they're very charismatic, you know, and even if they're just kind of talking to each other, sometimes that can be very, you know, it can just kind of lighten the mood, you know, the sarcasm and stuff. And so again, you did a great job of doing that, because again, the whole like found family, like tight knit, like group trope is really done well in this book. I truly love that. Maybe like I would love to hear about like a side character that maybe that you really like, because like we love like the main like groups of people, but like there are so many amazing characters that you only get kind of from maybe a couple scenes, or that you don't know as much about, and like maybe just like maybe even like tease maybe how many of them are like important in the second book, or even again your relationship with them in like just the small scenes that they might have had in this novel.
So, there are not very many side characters in Subversion because I wanted to keep like the character cast kind of small, kind of keep them centered on like the subversives. But in the second book, there are many new characters, and there's like this one new character that I personally have an attachment with because they're also South Asian. But not only that, but they just like have something to them that I personally identify with, and I obviously don't want to say their names. I am gonna announce like new characters soon later on in this month or July. I'm not sure. But like I'm just gonna like have like a list of new characters just to kind of tease like the people coming. But yeah, they're like a bunch of new characters, and we all have like certain like personality traits that I think are so cool. And like seeing how they interact with like the main characters in Subversion, like I feel like that would be a great dynamic. But yeah, my favorite side character I cannot name, sorry, but I definitely do have a lot in Conversion.
Cool, that's great. I love it. I mean, sequels are always almost my favorite books in the trilogy or whatever. Like I love second books, and so I'm super excited for yours. And I mean, I'm super excited. I love side characters. I love how full the world can be. And so I'm super excited to meet this amazing character and all of that. That's gonna be really great. I would love to hear more about, I guess, like without spoiling, what's like your favorite thing to write about the books? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it like again like the violence, or maybe the you know, the crazy like action scenes, or is it the romance, or is it like fun group moments? Like what would be like maybe if you had to think like your favorite thing about this book to write?
I'd say this is like probably the most heartless answer to ever give, but I feel like writing the scene after a character dies, I feel like is just a scene that's so exciting, but also a little bit daunting to explore as a writer, because that's when you really dive into those like the characters' emotions and like what they're seeing. And I feel like before in the past, I used to write romance novels, so obviously I never really got to write like very many depressing scenes. But like now that I'm writing a new genre, like I get to explore writing the like the bad parts of writing a dystopian book. And like obviously a lot of characters die in books like that. And as I've learned a lot, especially in the second book, like after somebody dies and that somebody that the character is close to, like you really got to get to explore with their emotions. And like as I've learned like writing this book, like there's like a lot of depth and like emotions involved with different characters, and just writing about that was like a lot of fun. I say like that sounds so heartless, but like it's honestly like it's pretty exciting to explore that as a writer and seeing how much your characters really hold as a weight, and like and how much that person meant to them, and how that carries on over to the third book and how that affects them more specifically. Like Jax, for example, like after a certain thing he did at the end of Subversion, which I will not say, but like after that, which you probably know what I'm talking about, like in the second book, it plays a huge like weight on him. It like constantly weighs him down, and it was like pretty like interesting to like experiment with that. And like since he's also like one of the point of views of conversion, like it's really fun to like see how he thinks and how he feels about that. So
super excited to see that again. Like, I know it's gonna hurt, but I think it's one of my favorite parts about being a reader of this series too, and just dystopian as a whole, because it's so dark and crazy, and people are dying, and there's a lot going on. I love to be inside of a character's head, and or even seeing them from afar, but especially the POV like characters, getting to see how they feel about something. I think that's always what I'm after. How does something happens and I'm immediately like, okay, so what does this person feel about this? And I love that again in conversion, we're going to get to see an extra point of view now. We're going to get to see Jack's point of view. Super excited about that because again, he's already such a dynamic and interesting character from this first book. So getting to be inside his head again, like you said, after all the craziness of this book, I am so excited. I'm truly like so excited. And I love that you mentioned also again the third book, because I know you have a great grasp as a writer of, again, I kind of like having things follow the main characters and just characters in general through the books. Things don't just kind of disappear. Like these things, like just like again, real life, like real people, going through things. You don't just kind of shed all your stuff, and because it's a new season, you kind of bring that with you. And so I'm super excited to see that. And I'm glad that you mentioned the third book because, last time, like heard anything about it. I know that the second book, we have a release date now, and beta readers have it, I'm pretty sure. But have you started thinking about, what I'm saying, or at least like maybe even writing the third book at all?
Well, I have been thinking about it, yes. And I already know the title, but obviously I'm not gonna say it just yet. But I am really excited to brainstorm it. I have not started brainstorming yet, but I have been thinking about it a lot. And I already know some characters that will play huge roles in it. But I am really excited to write the third book because it is the last book, and I know I'm gonna be a huge wreck after I finish writing it because it's me over, And I don't know when I will start writing it, but I do want to start brainstorming sometime after conversion comes out, and just like kind of seeing like what to do with certain characters, like what direction the story is going in, because conversion does end at a very interesting place. So I really want to like see where to go from there. And it's like a lot to think about because it's all coming to an end, and I want to make the ending explosive but also memorable, but also kind of like a good place to like end the whole story at. So yeah, I'm overall really excited to write it. But I'm just like really busy with like conversion right now. I'm like, I want to make sure I release it well, so the third book also like release also goes smoothly.
Cool, that's amazing. Yeah, and I mean that's great. I love the timeline that you have on your books. It's like a great timeline. Like you just have it kind of like really like really good like dynamic like deadlines and stuff. I think that you give yourself enough time for that. We know it's going to be amazing. Like we're super excited for that. And so that's great. I have like a custom, like at the end of like my interviews where I always ask about like another project. And obviously I kind of asked about the last book of this, but after, I'm saying this beautiful trilogy is over, do you have any like genres you want to explore or books you want to write? Or like, concepts you would like to, explore, anything like that you are just kind of thinking about right now?
Well, yeah, I have been interested to write in other genres too. I started writing this contemporary novel, I think at the beginning of April, May. And it's been hard to carry on with it, but I do like the overall like concept of the story. It's gonna be like a thriller-ish kind of vibe. So I really want to like I never like to follow one genre specifically, like the Subversion trilogy. It's not just dystopian. It's also romance, it's also a mystery, it's also a thriller. But like I don't like to like encapsulate or like confine my story to one genre because like there's like so much you can do. So same thing for like this new project I'm working on. Like I wouldn't exactly call it like contemporary, like also like certain genres because it's like you can never really, confine a book into one box. But yeah, I'm definitely want to write books in so many different genres. I definitely don't want to stop writing because I have an overactive imagination and I never stop thinking about books and stories. Like I have so much that I want to write. I don't think I'll be able to write it till like I'm 90. Like I have that many stories to keep me going. So but yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where my writing career or journey takes me. But right now I'm just dedicated to focus on the Subversion trilogy, seeing where my life goes from there.
Julio, thank you so much for that. That's amazing. Like, we love to just hear your passion for your books and for writing, and you know what I'm saying, the focus. I mean, there's no time, like, obviously we know why we get to like hold this amazing like book in our hands, because you like, you know, you're dedicated. And so thank you for being so dedicated and for, you know, blessing us with this amazing story. We're super excited about the second book coming out on September 20th. Super excited about that. Really quick before we leave, you could just, I mean, I would love for you just kind of maybe hit some like bullet point, like some like tropes maybe that people could find in this book, just in case they stayed this far and they need that last push to like really like read the book.
So basically subversion, and I start with subversion, I'll just go on to conversion afterwards, but subversion is really fast paced. There are lots of plot twists, and there is romance is a subplot, but it's also kind of like a big part of the book. It's enemies to lovers, slow burn, and the love interest, he's really interesting, he's dark haired, good looking, and overall the book, it keeps you on your toes. And the second book is pretty much the same, like super fast paced, lots of other plot twists. There would be like love triangles, people kind of challenging Jackson Blair, like the whole thing going on, and so many other hidden secrets, new villain. It's gonna be exciting. I'm really excited. So it's
Yeah,
definitely worth a read. Yeah.
super excited too. I mean, I am like through the roof. I remember when you like announced it and the cover and everything. I mean, I truly just love any like tidbit I can like any tidbit of information I could get. And so I'm thankful like to you would like tell about the second book, you know, because I mean, oh my gosh, like there's like it's always more, and I love that. Like I'm just super excited, and I know that everyone else is too. Like, woo! And so hopefully we get to like come back on here, you know, after the second book comes out, and I get to like talk to you again, you know, about all the
Yeah,
crazy stuff that happens. So thank you again for meeting with me. Thank you for writing these amazing books. Again, you can follow Ruhi in the description at all her socials and get the book and everything, because you want to read it in time for the sequel, because it's gonna be crazy, and I'm not gonna like shut my mouth. Okay, so you don't want to like get spoiled, so you need to get it. So thank you again. Beautiful like interview. Thank you for all your answers. And again, I hope you have a beautiful day and a beautiful rest of your, you know, writing journey this year. You know, release dates, all that, and I'm excited. You know what I'm saying, to get to like make all the videos about it, because I'm making a lot of them. So thank you again, and have a beautiful day.
you too. Thank you.